Okay, so you talked a lot about identities in the Middle East and how those affect the way these countries' revolts have gone. And I was wondering, it seems like Egypt and Tunisia have strong identities. The revolt, the people that were revolting, and that seemed to be successful for them. I wonder what you thought about. Does it matter what the identity and how strongly united that identity is as far as the success of the revolt goes?
Well, I think one of the main things is the fact that Tunisia and Egypt are much more homogeneous in terms of their ethnic, even to a certain extent, Tunisia even more in terms of religion as well. The religious identity, religious affiliations, but even in Egypt, you have most of the people are basically very similar in terms of their ethnic backgrounds, in terms of their customs, in terms of their traditions. Yes, there's a large Christian Coptic community, but in many ways they are very similar to each other, and many of the Muslims who are actually over the centuries have converted to Islam, and so that they themselves were Copts. And that made it much easier to organize a very cohesive movement that brings together the diverse forces within the society together to try to bring about the kind of changes that the people, the young people who are the protesters, the people who led this movement for change. And Tunisia is, in fact, while it does have it has Arabic influences, it has Phoenician, it has Berber or Amazigh background, it has Mediterranean influences as well. Nevertheless, it's a very well integrated society, very cohesive, and you don't have the tensions that are created by sectarian or ethnic or tribal, although even there, whether in Egypt or in Tunisia, you do have still some tensions. You do have, for example, the people where the uprising first started was on the interior of the country, not on the coast, not where the cities were, because the cities were not as effective economically as were the areas that are in the interior of the country. While in other countries you have tribal divisions, sectarian divisions, religious divisions, sometimes ethnic, regional divisions contribute to a great deal of conflict or tension, and where identity, sometimes the narrower identity, takes place above the national identity. And that's basically it.
Regarding the U.S. foreign policy is often criticized for its democratization of other countries and trying to push democracy on them, but doesn't it seem that in these countries that are so have different identities and different religious identities within the country that are so split, doesn't democracy seem especially well suited, other than an authoritarian that tries to impose his unique background upon them?
Absolutely, I think that's what is the demand of most of the protesters, especially the young people. Even sometimes now, what we're seeing is some of the forces which have not been well known for their democratic ideologies are saying that they are democratic and they would like to see democracy, because in reality, a democratic government, whether basically, maybe it's better to say a government that is representative, that's accountable and transparent, a government that's not corrupt, a government that treats all its people equally, and a government that protects the rights of its minorities. If this is democracy, then this would be ideal for most of the countries of the region. The problem is, however, that for a long time, the US and even Europe before that, or even to this day, they have placed a higher priority on stability than they did on democracy. Also, there was strong opposition to military interventions in the region, which have contributed also to tension. In addition to that, there was also opposition to what was seen as an uneven policy towards the Arab-Israeli conflict. There's a strong support for Israel, and what is perceived is that you don't have sufficient support for the Palestinians. And so all of this has contributed to this import, to this impression towards the United States. But at the same time that there's criticism maybe of some US policies, there's a great deal of admiration at the same time for the democratic ideal in the United States, for Americans' freedom, for its tolerance, for its openness, being a land of opportunity. That's why we see a lot of people from that part of the world coming to the United States or wishing to come to the United States. Many send their kids to study in the United States because they have a very positive view of America, its ideals, its technology, they love its music, its film, etc.
Thanks. And then lastly, you gave a good summarization of the Kurdish struggles in Iran, Iraq, and Turkey, and how complex that is. I mean, and they're so well known for their struggle, and they've got such a, what seems like a united voice sometimes. Do you see any way forward in any of those places for the Kurds and their struggles that don't seem to want to assimilate and want their own identity?
Well, I think, it's only natural that people want to preserve their own identity. And the more you perceive that your identity is facing a threat, the more you become attached and committed to preserving that identity. The more you see that either your culture or your region or your language are threatened, you become much more attached. So basically, I believe Kurds, like other groups in the area, are very much attached to their own identity and would like to have either a state of their own, although that's what they dream of. In reality, that is something that's very difficult, but they want to make sure that their rights as a people, that in their participation in the political process, that their language is recognized and as an official language in the countries where they are a substantial percentage of the population. So basically they want to be participants. At the same time, undoubtedly many of them dream of having a state of their own. As of now, it doesn't look like this is likely to happen anytime soon because of the political realities, because of the presence of far more powerful neighbors who have large Kurdish populations and who are not likely to support the idea of a Kurdish independent state anytime soon.
Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.